is Rory O'Toole.
And my name is Matt Schultz.
And this is How to Be,
the podcast where we discuss ancient wisdom, modern hacks, paperback self-help books, and pithy platitudes,
in the hopes of figuring out the best way to live this one precious and wild life.
In the morning, do you wash and scrub and prune and preen to get ready for the day? Or do you just fall out of bed, put on some baggy pants, and take your greasy hair and cover it up with a backwards cap? Join us as we discuss grooming.
Hi, Matt.
30 days hath September
Yes.
is a terrible mnemonic.
June and
November. But the reason it's terrible is because it sounds equally good if you switch around the months. 30 days hath November, March and May and November.
You said November twice.
Still sounded great.
30 days hath November, April, June, and September.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I guess you're right. But like, you just remember the words like the way you do to a song, right?
I don't know. I find that I'm in doubt, but I try to pull it up.
See, for me, it's like once I committed to learning it, which I always just like, as a child, it would come to me and I would glaze over.
Mm-hmm.
Just let it go through my brain. Then I was like, why don't you just pay attention one time?
Can you teach it to me right now?
30 days hath September, April, June, and November. All the rest have 31.
Except for February, which is... the February line is special. It has a little rhyme also.
My question is, so if I said March right now, you wouldn't know how many days are in March?
30 days hath September, April, June, and
without
November.
The rhyme.
All the rest have 31. March is all the rest, so 31.
So you wouldn't know without the rhyme?
No.
October.
30 days.
No.
Okay, 31.
I can do them all, maybe, without the rhyme. I don't want to brag.
I can't.
I guess it's where our different intelligences diverge in a yellow road. You took the one less traveled by.
Yeah, I would like to know. Put that on my learning goals for the upcoming year. Well, I want to learn this rhyme. So
Okay.
it's, okay, April, May, and November.
30 days have September. Does April have 30 days?
I don't know. Does it? April, May, and November. Is that it?
Yes. 30 days have September, April, May, and November. All the rest have 31. So let's say June.
31.
August.
31.
You should know that. That's your birth month.
Yeah, I stopped paying attention after my birthday. It's not like the tail end of the month is like alive with significant.
Well, Matt and I also have an ongoing joke that like it's impossible to know what month is coming next because they haven't announced it yet.
Yeah, that's a joke. It's a joke about a certain type of person, of which I am kind of that type of person who's like, a little bit, doesn't know what month is coming next. It's a bit of a surprise. A bit of a surprise. They decided to put July after June this year instead of the other way around. Sometimes it's July, sometimes July, June.
Yeah. A pet peeve of mine is when people don't know which one's Memorial Day and which one's Labor Day.
Oh, I find that confusing too.
I think everyone does.
Because Memorial Day is about to happen, right? And I was like,
yes,
convinced it already had. It's also confusing because we have Memorial Day, Israel Memorial Day here in Israel.
Well, the thing about Memorial Labor Day is that they are the same holiday, but one opens the summer and one closes the summer. That's the only significance of them, really. The 2 3-day weekends.
But they have different meanings. One's for workers and one's for soldiers.
Of course, but they're celebrated exactly the same way.
With sales.
And barbecues.
Oh, barbecues. Really?
Yeah.
A Labor Day barbecue?
Yep.
Never been to one.
Really?
I don't think so.
Yeah, people have barbecues. People hang out. It's always
Hmm.
Sam's birthday. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Let's get into our topic, shall we?
Yes. Today we are talking about grooming. And see, when I started to research this and was Google like history of grooming, turns out the alternative meaning of grooming has taken precedent.
I was just thinking about that. It's like I was watching The Office and Michael Scott talks about being groomed for a position.
Uh-huh.
And it's like that word has changed its connotation so much since this. I'm being groomed.
Yeah, I hope no one thinks that. That's what we're talking about.
We're
Could
talking
you
about we'll call the
imagine?
episode hygiene.
We could, but could you imagine if people were like, should is
Should
grooming?
you groom?
Should you groom? Should you be groomed?
Should you be a groomer? Should you be groomed? Um,
No, we mean it in the sense of hygiene, of maintaining your physical body, your smells, your silky hair, your
oh, do you see this in the background on my mirror, this little postcard?
what is it?
It's the postcard you sent me from Italy, a picture of a woman doing her morning toilette.
Oh, I knew you'd
And
love that
I
one.
put it, I stuck it up there on my mirror so that me and her do our morning toilettes together.
Pick that out. And then Lexi and Pascal were with me. I was like, Matt will love this. And they were like,
Yeah, you knew. I love it. It
I know.
inspires me.
A
It's so
long-faced
beautiful.
woman doing her toilette.
A long-faced woman doing her toilet. Her face is quite long.
Yeah. So that's what we're talking about today. Grooming. One of my, most essential characteristics is that I'm a well-groomed person, I think.
Hmm.
It's really close to my identity.
Yeah,
But I'm
yeah.
having
You always have been.
an existential crisis about it. Like, what is this all for, Matt?
I mean, I don't think it's for anything. I think it's for health.
Yes. But where is the line between like overdoing it and health?
Well, I thought this is something I thought about is that like they say this about sex, but I think it's even more true about grooming. Okay.
Yeah.
With sex, they're like anyone who has less sex than you is a prude, and anyone who has more is a whore. And that's like kind of true. But I think it's even more true that anyone who's more punctilious about grooming than you is like OCD freak and like
Idiot.
yeah, and
Fussy.
anyone less is a slob and disgusting.
You groom less than me, but I don't think you're a slob. But
But like
is it the slight difference in our genders that makes me
if
think
it might be the slight difference in our genders. But I think, like if you are someone who, okay, this isn't grooming, but this is cleanliness. If you are someone who, like you, is aware of the fact that curtains get dirty and need to be washed,
yes. I was just saying
then
this
it's
today.
then it's gross to think of someone like me who has unwashed curtains.
Yeah, it's frightening.
Yeah. So, but for me, it's like it's not on my radar.
Oh my God. Wow. Okay.
And I
Well,
picture you and I'm like, oh, she's like she's climbing the walls. But sometimes I see someone with a grooming habit that I don't have, and I don't think it's fastidious. Sometimes it inspires you.
it's covetable. Like what? Like when you've got your little nail brush?
Oh, the nail brush, the most elegant thing humanity has ever devised. A
Do you
civilized people.
find Sorry, do you find that it's hard to get into those nails though? Because like I need a curved nail brush. This is a little aside that I'll probably cut out.
I no, I feel like it works well enough for me.
An
I keep
angle.
my nails very short though.
Me too.
A little crew cut, as you know, I like to say.
I keep my nails short, but like probably not very short because then that feeling, that feeling when
Yeah,
you're
I do know that feeling, but I only have that feeling right after I cut them. Then they sort of acclimate. But yeah, like touching a paper napkin with really short nails,
Oof.
isn't that
Yeah.
like an uncomfortable feeling?
So I made a list of my toilette,
Okay.
my weekly toilette, all the things I do in a week.
Mhm.
That isn't, I probably isn't all encompassing, but is mostly all encompassing. Can I read it?
Yeah.
The body. I have it by by regions.
Hmm.
The body, showering, exfoliating, moisturizing, hair removing, various methodologies. The face, washing, exfoliating, vitamin C, BHA, retinol, serum, moisturizer, oil, new face, gua sha, toothbrushing, flossing.
Wow.
Hands and feet, nail cleaning, nail trimming, cuticles, pumicing, painting. Hair,
Wow.
shampoo, conditioner, mask, scrub, blow dry, non heat curls, wanding, Velcro rollers, products.
What next? The butt.
That's basically it. Then there's a lot of things that are like adjacent to that. Like my humidifier is really part of my
Of your
grooming
skincare
routine.
routine.
Yes, which means, I got to take care of the humidifier too. I have to clean it once a week. I have special little brushes I bought to clean the humidifier. This is exhausting. And my point is, I look around at my friends, most of whom are not have my extensive grooming routine, and they look just as good, if not better.
Well, is it a, I mean, that's the thing is like, is it about looking good? So some of the stuff you mentioned is cosmetic and some of it is hygienic.
Right.
And the line between these things,
Well, I didn't
it's like,
include any of my makeup stuff on there, obviously.
yeah, makeup's like a little too far to the right on the
Right.
spectrum. And then like a little to the left of that is like the retinol.
Yeah.
It's like it's the thing is the makeup's in a different drawer. The other skincare products are sort of right there along with in the same they might be in a drawer with like medicine
I have so much
and
of them. They're in their
toothpaste.
own. No,
Well, I know
not
you
for
keep your
me.
makeup in a giant Ziploc
I
bag.
haven't done that since college. Thank you very much.
I've no, I've seen you do that in
Oh,
LA.
when I'm traveling?
No, I've seen you drag to your couch from your room a giant Ziploc bag filled with powders, ointments, and tinctures and lipstick
I have a million different bags now. None of them are plastic, but
and
I
all of your
liked
different
can I tell
liquids.
you though? I like the plastic bag. Do you want to know why?
Why? You can see in it.
No, you can throw it away. It stays cleaner. Now I have to clean all
Mm,
my makeup bags in addition to everything else I do in life.
yeah. So I have a much less extensive grooming routine than you, which makes sense because I'm a man,
In a way.
um, in a way. But let me ask you this. How many showers do you think you take a year?
350,
No, you're only skipping however many days that is,
maybe once a month.
15 days. One skip a month. Okay. I have way more skips than that, but I also have multiple shower days.
Okay,
And
how
they're
many do
not,
you think you take?
it's a really hard equation because I actually have multiple showers a lot of days.
Okay. And I know I'm with you on some of them.
Oh yeah, I like to take Rory into the shower with me without telling her. Is that sexual assault?
Yeah,
Content warning.
and then all of a sudden his camera just gets accidentally turned on.
That is not true. But yeah, it's like the because okay, so one I did it once and she didn't notice. And then I was like, oh, I guess like even though the water sounds really loud on my end, like I guess like it's not that loud for other people. So then I was like, may I'll take other calls in the shower. Maybe this will be my new thing. And I had an interview for an internship. I took that call in the shower. And then the guy was like, do I hear water? And I was like, yeah, the shower's on in the next room. Sorry, it's really loud.
Wow, that's
But I was actually in the shower. with him interviewing for a
So what did
job.
you do? Did you just keep showering because you made up that excuse?
Yeah, I couldn't make a change. I think I walked like a little bit far from the water, to the
But you
other
got
side of the
out
tub.
sopping naked. Oh my God, too much. Okay, three, you take maybe three, maybe you take 350 then a year too.
It might be around that. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a little less though. I don't know. It probably evens out less in the winter, more in the summer, you know? That's
Mm-hmm.
that's the way it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and as for my face, I only just started washing my face
Oh my God.
with
When?
anything more than water. I got like face wash
When's
because
that?
I'm putting all these creams on my face at night that I feel and during the day. Like now that my skincare routine has increased, I'm like, at some point I have to wash all this goop off my face.
You got to wash the city off your face, to quote Carrie
Gotta
Bradshaw.
wash exactly.
Yeah,
Um,
the pollutants.
yeah, so I used to be much more of a hippie with hygiene.
Ugh, I didn't like those years.
No, and my only product that I had was Dr. Bronner's, which is like so drying and so uncomfortable.
You might as well have been like a salesperson for them. You were like, you can wash your floors, you can wash your laundry.
I know I was really quite taken with it. And I've had a complete turnaround now because now I want the complete opposite. I want a bright neon green
Emulsified
shower
goop.
gel.
Yeah. I use Dr. Bronner's as my shower. I use the baby formula for sensitive skin.
Mm-hmm. I think there's like, okay, like I'm really into the futuristic plastic aesthetic of bathroom products. I love the way toothbrushes look. They're so cool and futuristic. I love the way a tube of toothpaste looks. Just like these colors, icy blue, white,
Yeah.
and then these
What
like
about when
different
you get like
colorful
a,
gels.
a shower gel that's like kind of shiny and golden?
Yeah.
They put those
It's
little pearlescent beads in them.
it's really quite exquisite and fun to have all these different and okay, so my roommate has I don't think he listens, but I have all these different magical silky goos of different colors. He has two pitiful, dried up, cracked bars of soap that have been
Ew, I
that have been Frankensteined together.
no.
And I'm like, you're using my goose, aren't you? Because there's no way.
The temptation of the goose.
Yeah,
He's not Jesus in the desert, able to resist.
I think he must be availing himself sometimes. And,
Oh yeah.
it's fine.
It's your act of charity.
Yeah. Have some green, have some blue, have some pink, some cucumber melon, oh, I like when they're like creamy, like milk and honey,
Oh
like
yeah, I like milk and honey too. Well, that's the thing is like classically male, like a male joke is like the 3-in-1,
hmm
the shampoo,
yeah.
conditioner, and body wash. What is that keeps people from how do we divide ourselves? When did it happen between the well-groomed and the not so well-groomed?
Um, I don't know. I mean, I think grooming's always been a really big part of history, even though, people had different approaches to it and different levels of it. Like, I don't know if we would consider like the ancient Roman bathhouse to be very clean.
Yeah, no. I was looking
Um,
into that when we were doing research and yeah, they never drained that water.
yeah, I don't like that.
Ugh. I mean, it's you can't ignore that grooming is of the time of the culture, the standards of
Yeah.
it.
And do you think we're as clean as anyone's ever been?
Yeah, just because of sewage.
Yeah. I think of Japan as a very
Well,
clean culture.
Japan is the cleanest culture.
And I think, and I've talked to you about this before, I think that while we've attained sort of like these heights of cleanliness with our modern technology and plumbing, that has spurred a reactionary movement towards performative anti-cleanliness. The
Performative
hippie
filth.
walking around with bare feet, the
Ugh.
stinky deodorantless. I mean, I don't wear deodorant, but like, but I'm not, but I don't smell. And if I did, I would. Um, the I kind of regret saying that. You can leave it in, but I
Well,
just
let me take it back because you once were that. You once did smell and you didn't care. So talk to us about your transformation, what your thought process was.
well, the whole Dr. Bronner's moment in life and the hippie hygiene. I used to practice hippie hygiene. I used to kind of think of myself as being like hippie-ish in certain ways, and then one day I realized like, oh wow, it really is only in the bathroom that I live these values. And
The
maybe it's
worst
just
place.
laziness. But it, first of all, it had something to do with authenticity, some sort of perception of authenticity. The Dr. Bronner soap felt honest in a way that like the Pantene Pro V with like the picture of like the beads dissolving into like a chemical jet stream of hair, like that felt like a consumerist capitalist lie. And
Uh-huh.
the Dr. Bronner's felt like honesty. And also, I think there was something like, why can't we just enjoy the soft animal of the body? Why can't we smell the way we're meant to smell? And I've had such a reversal on that where now I think that like hygiene is enjoying the soft animal of the body.
Mm-hmm.
It's a way of taking care of yourself as if you are your own bonsai tree.
Yeah, absolutely. In the Odyssey, he's constantly going to all these, I don't know if you know it, but it's about this guy who goes on like a journey. I don't know if you ever heard
Hmm.
of the book, but so he's constantly in these foreign lands.
Odyssey.
He's constantly in these foreign lands, and every time he arrives somewhere new, the slaves give him a bath. And it's like this whole
Oh,
section about them bathing him and then um oiling his whole body and then putting on a clean wool tunic. And it sounds so nice and refreshing.
yeah, that sounds fantastic.
The clean body is just objectively so much better than a crusty, dirty body. And like, I hate showering. Like, it's something I really do not look forward to or enjoy. I don't even enjoy it anymore when I'm in it. But one thing I hate 1,000 times more is feeling dirty.
Now, someone told me this recently. They were talking about someone who like doesn't shower at all, who claims that like eventually you stop smelling. Now, which this was on my list of topics to discuss, the idea of the self-cleaning body. Now, I sent you that. Did you watch that YouTube
Yeah.
video I sent you? It was a lot of it was about douching products and
Yeah.
how bad they are for you and how they've really, you know, a woman's anatomy is to a certain extent self-regulating.
Hmm.
Is that correct?
Yes.
So
You're
when
not supposed to interfere too much.
you're not supposed to interfere too much. And they also say this with hair, don't over shampoo. You're stripping your hair. You want to have some degree of oil buildup. We think of, and also like oil buildup, that is what dirtiness is. Like soap is the way soap chemically works. I know this because I took a soap making workshop once, is that
Was this
uh,
before or after you were a hippie?
it was when I still smelled bad. I didn't
Interesting.
I didn't get high on my own supply.
You just gave it
But
away.
it's actually really fascinating. So a soap molecule has two ends. So it's like a little barbell, okay? One end it loves to connect to oils, and the other loves to connect to water. So when you soap up, the oil end gets connected to all the little oils on your hand and which have in them little pieces of dirt and stuff. And then when you run the water collect like magnets all those water ends and drags them off your hand. Isn't that neat?
Yeah,
That's how it works.
honestly.
That's why your hands feel dry afterwards.
Oh, speaking of which, let's lotion these hands up.
So you're supposed to let some oil build up in your hair. I feel like that's one of those facts that people always like to say as if
Yeah, but then I
we
think
don't
that's a
all know it.
little dubious because you really do need to keep your scalp clean.
Yeah, but I think you can keep your scalp clean with water and with an occasional shampoo.
I don't think it's occasional now. I think there's
Then
actually currently a lot
what's
of pushback.
occasional?
I think there's a lot of current pushback actually if you're in the online beauty community like I am on the infrequency of shower or about hair shampooing. It's not as infrequently as we thought.
Really? Okay. I usually shampoo my head just twice a week.
I think that's
Is that
okay with
not enough?
No, I think that's fine with your short hair. For me, it's every other day, every 2 days. So what's that? 3 days,
Oh,
4 days a week. But
well,
it's
that's quite healthy and lustrous right now. So you're doing
like
something right.
you want to get keep that scalp clean. I have a scalp scrubber. When I'm shampooing my hair, I don't really care about the ends. I care about the top, the crown,
I want a,
baby.
I want a scalp scrubber.
Ooh, I have my scalp scrubber. It's part of my extensive grooming routine.
So actually, so the nose picker also is scratching his head a lot. And I was debating with myself about this in class. Like, is the scalp a gross area on the body to touch? It kind of is, right?
You don't want to be picking things off of it. No.
Yeah. But yeah, you see someone scratch their scalp, it's like a little unseemly.
Like this, like what I'm doing right now.
That's
That,
fine.
that's okay. But this,
Yeah. If you're
leaning
encountering
into it,
anything,
and have a curious look on my face.
yeah,
If I'm
like you're
curious about what
investigating.
I'm touching, no.
Yeah, you're like you've found something and now there needs to be like an entire archaeological survey of the area to see what else can be found. It's like what's going on there.
Uh,
Um, but yeah, scalps can be pretty gross, I would say.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So going back to like the type of person who thinks grooming is non-essential, I guess. I also think beyond, yeah, I mean it's reactionary. It's almost a privilege because it's like I actually have all of these comforts in the world and money in my bank account and yada yada, so I can be a total slob.
Yes, I can be smelly. I can walk by and instead of you smelling my BO and thinking, "Oh, he's poor, he's homeless, he's whatever," you'll think, "Oh, he's a hippie. Oh, he's beyond it."
Yes,
And
exactly. It's poor people don't want to be smelly because it's not a choice always.
yeah, yeah, you're gonna have some self-respect.
Yeah.
And yeah. No, I think that the intentional smelliness reeks of privilege, of white privilege, of socioeconomic privilege. I know some of the smelliest people I know are the richest.
Yeah, there's a lot of overlap, I think, there. I mean, we went to a college of lots of privileged people who also
Smells, lots of
smelled.
wonderful smells.
Here's the thing about smell too, is like I know, especially in like let's say America. To say Western is almost too much. It's like we're really obsessed with smells and not smelling badly. And obviously, I'm an American, so I love that. It's my culture. And I think one of the reasons that we are so offended by other people's smells and don't want to interact with them, I think it has to do with like the idea of personal space. Because when you smell bad, you really are invading someone's personal space.
Yes, which is a very culturally relative idea. How
Exactly.
much, yeah, like how much we are okay with other people influencing our smell zones with cooking, with anything. It very
Exactly.
much differs. Um, and you know, they have like at a lot of like events, like sometimes events are like fragrance free.
What do you mean?
Like it'll be like a lecture at a college and
Oh,
like it's fragrance free, like don't come, or there's a fragrance free seating section.
oh, interesting. In America.
In America, it's kind of like a woke
Wow.
thing.
I
And
kind of
like,
like I don't like it, but that's really interesting to me because I also hate being accosted by someone's perfume.
yes,
Even a quote unquote good smell to me is like you shouldn't be able to smell someone unless you're right up next to them
yes,
intimately.
which is a very white Western
I think it's
idea.
even more than a Western American.
Yeah, it's a
It's like,
very
yeah, it's
American
like
ideal.
this is my space. I own my space. I have a constitutional right to it.
Yeah, you can smell me if you come right up into my.
Yeah, it's also the same thing with sound, which I know like frustrates you on public transit. The people are invading your space with sound. Whereas, like, if you've ever been on the commuter train in Chicago and you're sitting in the quiet car, if you so much as more than whisper one word to the person you're with, you are getting kicked out of that quiet car.
Oh, that sounds like heaven. I
You
hate
are,
sound invasion.
yeah, exactly. I
I want
also,
to live in that Quiet Place movie, the John Krasinski movie. Those monsters were just enforcing good behavior.
I also think that there's like a type of person when it comes to hygiene and grooming. It's like it's not that they are it's like they don't want to look like they're trying too hard in any situation. Like it's too vulnerable to look like you
Yeah,
put effort in.
with grooming though, or with like beauty products.
I think grooming to an extent, like you can't like this is the type of person I'm talking about who would like who's perpetually underdressed. You know what I mean?
Okay. But underdressed, it's like a little different, right? I want like a grooming example.
Like they definitely don't shower every day. They're definitely not if they're a woman, they're definitely not removing hair. Because to
Mhm.
remove hair is to be basic B almost, you know?
Yeah, the
You
hair.
gotta
So
have fuzz under your arm.
should we talk about the body hair? That's an interesting subject.
Yeah, I mean, body hair to me
A
is
little
like
controversial, right?
it's so in the world I live in. I mean, I feel like I live between two worlds, but in one of the worlds I live in, body hair on women is completely normal.
Yeah. So okay. So there was like a TikTok of a woman who had facial hair to some degree, and she was someone had said something to her like, why don't you shave it off,
Do
and
something.
she was like, because I don't have to, because women have facial hair and it's not shameful to have facial hair. Lots of women do, which is absolutely true.
Right.
So my question that I asked you like after I watched this was like, it really got my noggin going. I was thinking about it a lot. It's like, is it okay for us to say as a society, like, oh, we have two eyebrows, not one? Or like like to make these like arbitrary, unnatural
Right.
standards, they're utterly unnatural. People have two eyebrows, people have one eyebrow, people, like
Yeah.
there's nothing sort of real about it. But is it okay to say like that we have sort of expectations of what grooming practices people
On an
participate in
aesthetic level.
on an aesthetic level?
Okay, yes. So I think it's like humans have a long history of doing this, right? We've always had these sort of standards of appearance.
Hmm.
And they've all cycled through many, many trends throughout the history of humanity. So I think it's kind of like a little bit of both. It's like you have to realize and see through it and see like how transparent it is and how meaningless it is. But then it's hard to find the motivation to do it. Like, I think that's what I'm struggling with right now. I'm like, my toilette and my beauty routine is so extensive. And it's like, why?
Hmm.
It's like, what is
Yeah.
this all for? It's just a stupid. it's just like cultural standards and like the smell stuff, there's like meaning behind it. But like the two eyebrows, there's way less meaning behind it. But here's the
Yeah.
thing for me and like female facial hair is like, I'm not a pioneer in any
Mhm.
regard. So it takes people like that to move a beauty needle to like in a different direction. And that's not me.
Yes.
I like to just I go with the group unless there's something ethically wrong that I need to speak
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, I guess someone needs to move the needle.
Yeah.
Um,
But I think the future is women with facial hair.
really?
Potentially, could be. Why not?
Yeah, and she was so indignant that she was asked about it. And I guess my thought was like, well, you do realize that not a lot of people are doing this,
No,
you
I
know?
think that's like really silly. Like if you do something that's sort of against the norm, you should be understanding of the fact that people are going to inquire about it. Like Sam and I, we've been together for like almost 13 years and we're not married. So when people ask me, do you want to get married or why aren't you married or something along, no one's ever said, why aren't you married? But like, what about getting married? Like, I'm not going to get mad about that because it's a little weird that we're not married?
Yeah, it gets people curious. It
Exactly.
stirs the imagination.
I don't think curiosity is something that you should be, offended by.
Yeah, and I get that she's like, I have facial hair because I have facial hair. Like it just grew out of my face.
Yeah, but the
Why do I
fact that
have
you're
to defend it as a choice? Like it just
sure, but must have a philosophy behind it if you're just letting it be. Because also, like removing facial hair has maybe probably I don't know. It depends on probably how you want to remove it, but like it's not the most difficult thing in the world.
yeah. Now I do believe, however, other than my foray chasing someone to a bathroom to tell them to stop picking their nose, that it is best not to. Who's just talking about this? Don't talk about people's bodies. Who was saying that?
A lot of people probably say that. Oh, Ariana
Oh, Ariana
Grande.
Grande. Yeah. Yeah. She was like, I'm Korean now and stop noticing it.
But you agree.
But yeah, well, clearly I agree with caveats because I wanted to make that joke about Ariana Grande being Korean now. Um,
Okay, I have something really important to say about this. Okay. So I was recently with a mutual friend of ours, and she was talking about a man who came to visit, and this was a potential love interest of hers. And it didn't work out because he was not well groomed. His feet were grimy. He was spitting. Okay. He was not smelling good. Like he didn't have good hygiene, and she was naturally turned off by this. So it didn't work out. It's not going to work out. And this man, and she didn't tell him because how could you? How could you tell someone these things, which is what we're talking about, right? And he's just going out into the world thinking it's his personality. No, it's your filthy body.
your
So,
filthy body. People care.
and I wish that we lived in a world where you could tell someone these things about their filthy bodies and we weren't just like sensitive human beings, which we are and we have to respect. And it was just, scrub those feet, dude. If you're not scrubbing your feet when you're about to especially see a potential lover,
Yeah,
and
scrub your feet. Please have clean fingernails.
this is the thing is like no one will tell you, not even me, that you are grimy and smell bad and your breath is bad and you need to change your toothbrush and you need to exfoliate your feet and go to the dentist. And it is everyone's personal responsibility to
Mm.
have their hygiene in order because no one will tell you if you smell bad.
Okay, here we just stumbled onto the greatest paradox of hygiene. It is the most personal thing in the world, and it is the most public thing about you at the same time.
Amen.
Sometimes this is gross. Can I say something gross?
It's up to you.
We'll see how it sounds. But sometimes I think about, I mean, and this is very connected to what you just said. It's like straight men can have a different level of hygiene than the rest of us.
Hmm.
And I think that must be scary for straight women on the singles market. I especially think that, you get a guy into your bed, a straight guy into your bed, you probably have no idea his rear end might be so
No,
neglected,
no, no, no.
like
Yeah.
when Miranda finds the skid marks in Steve's underwear in Sex and the City. And I think that must be really scary because when you are sleeping with gay men,
There's a
you have
standard of care.
there's a standard of care.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I think this goes to show that they don't teach hygiene enough. Like, even for this episode, I looked up hygiene checklist and it was so hard to find and so minimal. It's like shower, wash your face. It's like, no, we need to teach people what we're doing in the shower,
mhm.
what we're doing with the washcloth. Okay.
Oh yeah, well we've famously talked about this, how they teach you how to shower when you're like 4 and then they never check in with you again.
Yeah, exactly.
So like you get to be like 18 years old and it's like you don't know if you've gone off on like a completely different path than the rest of society.
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
And
And
when these celebrities talk about like I don't wash my legs or I let the shampoo from my head drip down, like these there was it was like last year that these celebrities were talking
yeah,
about, and then they mentioned that in that YouTube video I sent you, like that really set
the
apparently
internet
Black
ablaze.
Twitter
Oh,
on fire, talking about like, oh, is this what white people do in the bathroom? Like, that's gross. They don't wash themselves properly.
yeah.
And it's like, yeah, it's like this. But like, do you wash your legs?
Yes, because I exfoliate my legs.
Mm, okay.
So either I use a scrub or I use a washcloth with soap. And then also, of course, I shave my legs and I shave my legs only using soap as like the emulsifier.
Hmm.
So yeah, I personally think every part of your body should be touched with soap on a regular basis. And I'll just to put it delicately, especially places that are not breathing.
Hmm.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. But
Not
what do you
open to
think
the
that
world.
gravity plays any role in the shower of like, oh, you soaped up here, it runs down there?
Maybe for like, I don't know, maybe probably depends on your body shape. So for me, I've got a lot of circles and things go off a beaten path. So I know I need to bring my soap down to the leg region,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not one path down. It's not an elevator.
No, it's a mountain range for sure. For sure. But I mean, I know that there was like that doctor who told you to just let your shampoo fall onto your face for your like rosacea, right?
Yeah, he gave me for my seborrhea, not rosacea, seborrhea.
Oh,
Let's
sorry.
get it right. He got me a special Scalp RX prescription shampoo. And he was like, just let it kind of trickle down to your face and that'll, because I had it on my scalp and on my face. And he was like, so do your scalp and then let it sort of just get there, you know? And like it was very interesting to have such like a sort of like Taoist medical instruction of just sort of like let the shampoo get there in
Hmm.
whatever amount. You really had to let go and let God in that moment.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, this that gets me thinking about just all the, as we kind of touched on it, all the adjacent things to grooming that maybe aren't necessarily grooming, but like laundry, like especially because like someone like you doesn't wear deodorant. I bet you launder your clothes after every wear, basically, right?
Yeah.
You got to launder your clothes. I have to wash my makeup brushes. I have to, clean my humidifier. It's a lot.
Yeah. But it's kind of beautiful.
It's
Isn't it beautiful?
labor.
Isn't there sort of a joyfulness to it? Now, what would be really fun would be to have like a full um vanity
Oh yeah.
like
With lots
Mary Magdalene.
Mary Magdalene had a vanity.
I feel like there's those paintings of her like looking in a mirror and um brushing her hair, and there's like a skull and a candle.
I'm not recalling that painting, but Jesus did invent the tall table, so he probably did build her a nice tall vanity.
Yes. I think, yeah, like it would be nice to have a little vanity with a station where you could really like, you know, make a night of it.
Staring at yourself in the mirror.
Staring at yourself in the mirror, flossing, doing all the
You
things.
gotta floss in the bathroom.
Oh yeah, that's where you and me see, and this is a place where I'm gross.
Yeah, that grosses me
Like
out.
from your perspective, like flossing outside the bathroom is gross to you.
What about cutting your nails? Do you do that anywhere else besides the bathroom?
Um, yeah, I
In the
do.
kitchen over your boiling pot of pasta?
No, I'll do it right here at my desk.
Mm-mm. No, no. There are certain rooms for certain grooms, okay?
Um, absolutely. You know, in an ideal world, sure. Um, I would love, I was at a friend's house, and this is common in Israel, but not ubiquitous. The separate the sink room being separate from the
From the
toilet
toilet
room.
room. I mean, yeah, that's the
Heaven.
but could you imagine how much I would need to how much something about the tiny toilet room would make me need to disinfect those walls constantly.
Yeah, but you know what? They're manageable.
Yeah.
They're manageable walls, and you can
It's
feel
just
sort of,
I all these things like on my list that I read, it's like these things aren't necessarily time consuming, but they really add up in my week.
yeah, but then it's like when I get my screen time report and it's like, you were down 30% last week to 3 hours a day. I'm like, what right do I have to complain about anything taking too much time
That's
when
true.
I'm spending 3 hours a day on my phone?
But what is
Like,
the 3 hours a day? Is any of it maps?
yeah, so, listen, some of it is maps, some of it is WhatsApp. Like, it's not
Does
truly
screen
three
time
hours.
include podcasts?
No,
Okay.
no, it doesn't. But I do think that there's time in the day for these things. Well, it's like I just read that book, Saving Time by Jenny Odell, and she would be saying that I completely did not internalize her message.
What was her message?
Her message is that like this idea of time democracy, like we all have the same 24 hours,
Mm,
is like really not true because of socioeconomic
yeah. Did she
disparities,
need to
which
write a
is
book about
obviously
this?
correct. She, yeah, listen, I don't recommend it.
I think a tweet would be sufficient.
Yeah, like, I mean, I wrote a micro essay about the same subject,
There you go.
accomplished it in
100 words or
a couple
less.
of lines. Yeah.
Um, yeah. Well, anyway, I mean, yeah, it depends on how you want to spend your time. I want to spend my time feeling clean. And in order to get there, I have to do a lot.
Where do you weigh in on the eternal debate, night shower versus day shower?
I actually, night. Well, actually, I shower midday a lot because I do yoga when I work at home. From home, I do yoga on my lunch and I shower after that.
Mhm.
But
Ah,
otherwise, I shower at night. I don't want to get into my bed feeling dirty.
yeah, I mean, it's very so, and I was when I was dog sitting, I was washing that pup's paws every night because every time we came in from a walk, because I knew he was going to get into the bed with me.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't want him doing it with those yucky paws. Now, I'm quite certain that his owners don't do that. For them, the yucky paws come into bed. I believe,
Most people don't. I don't think most people wash their dog's paws.
which is pretty gross.
It
It's
really
like,
is. I mean, there's like cognitive dissonance. There is incongruities, there's hypocrisy. And when we look back at other cultures and we're like, oh, yeah, they would take baths, but the water wasn't changed out. People could definitely look at us and will look at us and be like, yeah, they washed their own hands, but they didn't wash their dog's hands.
Yeah, it's like
Things like
imagine
that.
walking around with the city with a mop, okay? And you're just dragging it behind you everywhere you go and purposefully rubbing it on other places where dogs have peed. You see a corner of a wall where dogs have peed, run the mop over that. And then you bring it home, you drag it up the stairs to the apartment, and then you just throw it on your bed. No
What
one
about like the
will
nose?
do that.
Did you wipe the nose?
Yes, I wipe his anything that came in contact with the filth.
Um, what do you think is the number one? Do you think people lie about their hygiene, their cleanliness? And to what extent?
A doctor asked me if I flossed the other day, and it was a real confrontation with the truth and with lies. I was like, yes. And then I was like, no.
How often do you floss?
I have like maybe 3 months out of the year that I get really into it.
Oh,
And
okay.
I 30 30 flosses have September, April, June, and November. All the rest have none.
And you're in an August right now, if you will.
I'm in an August of flossing, but I do think I'm going to floss tonight. This conversation's got me in the mood.
Yeah. I think people lie about the amount that they floss, and I worry they lie about other things, but that's not for me to decide. It's for you. I think that's my biggest takeaway thinking about grooming is it's for you to understand that people do notice the shortcuts we all take in grooming, but no one will say it to you,
Yeah,
including
they
me.
notice.
And so it's up to you to keep
Yeah,
everything clean and nice looking, tidy.
tidy, smelling good.
Yeah. So yes, be a fastidious groomer, but like I said, like for me, like sometimes it feels like the myth of Sisyphus. Like, what is this all for? I don't think I look particularly better than anyone who doesn't groom necessarily.
I don't know. I think it's just about being civilized, kind of like honoring the body as more than just like, I don't know. There's something about
Bag of
bodies that's
flesh.
gross. Yeah. I think the fact that we're made out of flesh is gross. And, you know, to me, like plants are less gross than animals. Like they're crisp. You cut a flower stalk, it's like way more organized on the
No
inside than
digestive
human.
system.
No di Yeah, like plants,
How elegant to only eat the sun.
it's so elegant. And humans were so gross. And we have these like terrible bones jutting out of our gums for like gnashing food. There's something just very violent and vulgar about being a human. So hygiene is kind of this gloss on that we do to fool ourselves and to fool others so that we can stand in this world with a little bit of dignity.
Yeah, and you're pro mirage. You're pro the fooling of the self.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fool me, fool me.
Say that you'll fool me. All right, Matt. Well, yeah, go out, go forth and groom everyone.
Go forth and groom. Fingernails, it's a big
Fingernails.
one for me. Keep them short, keep them clean.
Yeah. Good night. Bye bye.
Bye bye, Rare.